Hello everyone and welcome back, this time to the next game I'm going to commit to, and this time I will commit to it because I've been having a ton of fun with it. This isn't Battlerite, where I eventually got tired of it. Not to dig on Battlerite, it's an amazing game, and I did have a lot of fun at the time, but maybe the genre, maybe the perspective, maybe just I'm worn out on MOBAs because even though I haven't played any on channel, I have done like 5 years of playing both League of Legends and Dota 2, and so maybe Battlerite was just too similar, I don't know. But yeah, I think I've found the next thing I really want to spend a long time committing to with a deep and meaningful relationship, and that is Rainbow Six Siege, as you might be able to tell from the background. But what is Rainbow Six Siege, and why am I so interested in it? Well, Rainbow Six Siege is a competitive first-person shooter, and I actually haven't played any of those on channel. I mean, maybe you can count PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, but it's a little different. PlayerUnknown's is kind of its own beast, its own genre. You know, the Battle Royale genre, H1Z1, all those games, they go together. They're not really what I would class as competitive multiplayer shooters. What I would class as competitive multiplayer shooters would be something like CSGO, or, you know, whatever the hardcore mode in Call of Duty is, which they play in the professional Call of Duty scene. I've got to be honest, I don't follow that, but I used to follow Counter-Strike, and yeah, Rainbow Six Siege has its own pro league, and it's easy to see why. It's two teams, you know, the traditional counter-terrorists versus terrorists, going up against each other, and the aim is you either kill the other team or disarm the objective or defend the objective based on what team you're playing as. And why is Siege's take on this formula, which, let's face it, Counter-Strike has done for a long time now, why is Siege's take on it so interesting, and why does it grab me so much at the moment? Well, there's a few aspects to this. The first one, I would say, that really helps the game feel modern and really interesting and sort of like long-term interesting. That's awful English. Whatever. Is the destructibility of the environment. If you didn't know, in Siege, the defenders can put up barricades and reinforced walls around windows and doors and walls, and the attackers can break through these, and the defenders can as well in certain situations where it's like advantageous for them to do so. But yeah, the destructibility in Siege is really cool. Not only can you break through the barricades and the reinforcements that the defenders put up, but you can also shoot through the walls, the floors, and the ceilings of a map in certain places. And by certain places, I mean most places. Very few objects in Siege can't be shot through. And this makes combat cool because you can like shoot someone through a wall, which is pretty fun, as you might imagine. But also just opening up the terrain so that you can get a new vantage point. You can legitimately, with one character, use a sledgehammer to whack a floor, open it up, and then use your assault rifle to just kind of peek on the floor below. And that's a legitimate thing to do, which is super cool. So yeah, point number one, the destructibility is awesome and really adds to the game a ton. And I've actually read a couple of interviews where the designers kind of actually said that they started Siege after the initial project for the next Rainbow Six game was cancelled. They started making Siege from the ground up to take advantage of the destructibility that they'd made in this new kind of engine, I imagine. And you can really feel it when you play. Like, the destructibility, beautiful. Point number two, though. Why do I love Siege at the moment? Well, point number two, what was it? The lethality. And yes, I do have literally a pad of notes right next to me because I want to make sure I cover everything comprehensively. But point number two, why is Siege so cool? The lethality. It's a very low time to kill game. If you hit someone in the head with a shot, with almost any weapon, I think, it's like an instant kill. And so getting your crosshairs right really has a lot of benefit in this game, in the same way that it does in Counter-Strike. You want to have your crosshairs where their head is going to be when you peek around a corner. And speaking of peeking, because the time to kill in this game and time to die is so short, they also use, which is sort of traditional to Rainbow Six, but whatever, a fairly comprehensive leaning system where you can peek round corners by leaning your body and thus presenting a smaller profile to be shot at in return, which is really fun. And this whole package of high lethality in Rainbow Six means that you have to be really careful, you have to be thinking about where you're going to go, and if you're going to run there and make a lot of noise, or if you're going to slowly creep there and possibly be too late. And high lethality is just really awesome in any competitive game because it means every action has a really huge potential consequence if you screw it up. So that's point number 2. So we've covered the destructibility on offer, which is extensive, very extensive, and the lethality, which, as mentioned, is very, very high. And point number 3 is the operator abilities. And if you didn't know, in Rainbow Six Siege, another aspect alongside the destructibility that sets it apart from Counter-Strike or similar games is the fact that you play as a chosen operator from a certain counter-terrorist or terrorist... No, they're all counter-terrorist unit. And each operator has a unique ability that they alone can harness and use. So this gives kind of legitimate sort of pick phase, sort of like thinking and strategy when it comes to picking your operator, either when you're attacking, and the operators are split into defending operators with defensive abilities and offensive operators with specifically offensive abilities. So when you're attacking, you've got to choose, which operator will be best on the attack this round, based on what the opponent was doing previous rounds. And then, same deal for the defenders. And these multiple layers of complexity, the destructibility, the lethality, the challenge that comes with the lethality, and then the operators that you choose, it really adds up to a very complex and fulfilling game to learn. And I think this is a great aspect of games that draws people in long term, is how complex the game is. You merely have to look at the very successful MOBA genre, which, has a reputation for being incredibly complex. And I know from experience, having played League of Legends for a couple of years and then Dota 2 for, I think, 3 or 4 years after that, the MOBA genre is very complex. But with that complexity comes the desire on your part as a player to learn the challenges and the depth and the difficulty yourself. Learn what each character does and what the best plays to do are. And yeah, that really kind of represents itself in Siege. It's a very complex game, and that drags you in. Your first matches will be horrific, guaranteed, but there's a versus AI mode for you to practice in and warm up in, so don't worry too much if you want to try this game out. But yeah, Siege, in short, is a lot of fun. And as a result of me having a lot of fun with it, I am feeling that little spark that makes me want to make some videos on it. So first off, I'm going to show you a very quick clip of some very cool action in a round. What happened was we had a bunch of toxic teammates, and yes, those exist in every multiplayer game. Don't worry about that. Just mute them, turn chat off if you want to. That's what I do, at any rate. We had a bunch of toxic teammates. One was AFK consistently at the start of every round, etc., etc. And somehow we made it a draw. It was rounds 2, and it was 2 for 2, basically. Both teams had won 2 rounds, and that brings us to the tiebreak round. And by this point, all of our team, I think, was leaving as they died. Like, the toxicity was pretty bad. But me and my remaining teammate on the Capitao, I was playing as an operator called IQ, who can detect electronics with this kind of flip-up detector thing. It's cool. It was up to us to bring it back, and the enemy team was by and large unscathed. So here's the clip. Hope you enjoy, and I'll see you afterwards. Where's... There it is.
Drone's up and running.
Okay, one down, one down. Not bad, not bad.
Drone deployed.
Wait for it. Oh, Capita's still here. Okay. Okay, 1, 2. Oh, 3.
RED active. Sweeping perimeter.
I'm dry!
Ah.
Last operator standing.
Get him. So close.
Op 4 eliminated.
Nice one. That was pretty good. We did it, team. We did it. And there you go. That was the clip that I wanted to show you. Hopefully it conveyed some of the edge of your seat sort of excitement and tense nature of Rainbow Six Siege as you play each round. The, as mentioned, super high lethality of Siege, the fact that just a shot or two to your head or a couple more shots to your body and you're done, you're out of the round, you're gone. Like it really adds to the excitement and just it sort of raises the stakes in your head because you feel unsafe and fragile. Even the bulkier operators who have 3 armor and 1 speed, even they aren't going to be able to absorb that many shots, and everyone therefore is taking a lot of care, and each confrontation as a result feels super kind of tactical, super tactical, with the peeking system, with the repelling system, with the destructibility. Yeah, it all really meshes together fantastically, and quite frankly I wish I'd been playing this game a lot earlier. But yeah, what can you expect in future? Well, naturally I'm going to be doing more videos. I've already got the recording sorted, so you can look forward to those. And the format for the moment, as I learn the game and get to grips with it, is going to be, I will be playing per game, per match, 1 offensive operator and 1 defensive operator, just so there's some kind of focus for every video. And as you might expect, every video will be a single, singular match of Rainbow Six Siege. At the moment, it will be in casual, but eventually I will be doing my ranked placement matches. And those I will be uploading in probably their own mini-series, as I try and do my best and get the best rank I can, which probably won't be that great because I'm a new player, but what can you do? But yeah, that's what you can expect in future. So as always, guys, thank you a ton for watching this. Hopefully it kind of conveyed some of the excitement that I feel for Siege at the moment. Really fun game. I definitely recommend that you try it out if you can, or if you've got a friend who's got it, go to their place or something. But yeah, awesome game. Lots of content hopefully coming up in future, and I will see you guys in the next one.